Two powerful warriors, each from a separate universe, were brought together by the winds of fate as they swirled and churned across the barren battlefield where dimensions had converged. The fierce martial artist from the One Punch Man universe, Garou, and the legendary shinobi Madara Uchiha prepared for combat. The moment the two combatants met eyes, there was a palpable tension in the air as they both understood how strong and stubborn their opponent was. Madara, still in his basic form, used his wind release vacuum wave technique to call forth a strong wind gust to start the combat. Garou easily twisted his body, dodging the strike with the fluidity of water as the wall of air surged at him. His motions resembled those of a dancer, and his innate martial arts skills allowed him to gracefully deflect each incoming strike. The two warriors' steps across the battlefield were a deadly symphony of might and dexterity. Garou, who was renowned for his tremendous speed and agility, easily avoided Madara's punches and answered them with a powerful blow of his own, but Madara was used to adjusting to unexpected circumstances, and he started to modify his combat technique to go along with Garou's unpredictable moves. As he threw a barrage of blows at Madara in response, Garou quickly closed the distance between them. With his Sharingan eyes, the Uchiha skillfully parried and countered each attack, anticipating and responding to Garou's every move. Garou responded with his amazing martial arts skills to Madara's barrage of devastating attacks. While Madara was now controlling his Susanoo, the two fighters engaged in a struggle, each testing the other to the utmost. Their crushing blows caused the air to vibrate and the ground to tremble underneath them. Madara sensed the need to intensify the battle and summoned his Mangekyo Sharingan, signaling a new level of power with the peculiar swirling pattern of his eyes. Around him, his Susanoo appeared, a ghostly warrior towering over Garou and brandishing a lethal collection of weapons. As Madara launched a flurry of assaults, the air erupted electricity as his arrows sliced through it with a deadly precision. Garou responded with his amazing martial arts skills to Madara's barrage of devastating attacks. While Madara was now controlling his Susanoo, the two fighters engaged in a struggle, each testing the other to the utmost. Their crushing blows caused the air to vibrate and the ground to tremble underneath them. Undaunted by Madara's sudden strength, Garou proceeded to avoid and parry each of Susanoo's blows. His movements accelerated further, and his body began to flex and twist against the laws of physics. As the fight dragged on, it became clear that Garou was more than just a skilled fighter. He was a living weapon with the capacity to cause destruction in each of his limbs. Garou was incredibly agile, but he started to tire under Madara's Susanoo's constant pressure. Madara exploited the advantage after noticing his opponent's wavering resolve. With his Yasaka Magatama, he unleashed a tremendous strike that tore through the air and left a path of devastation in his wake. Garou realized he needed to dig deeper and use more of his latent power. After nearly dodging the catastrophic force, Garou released his awakened form to rival Madara in one last desperate effort. His limbs grew longer and thicker, his skin turned silver, and his body underwent a monster change as his strength and speed increased tremendously. Now that he was on equal footing with Susanoo, Garou unleashed a savage counterattack, striking the warrior with the force of a meteor with his fists and feet. Each deadly hit left a hole in the earth, causing the ground to tremble beneath them. The armor of Madara's Susanoo started to break from the constant assault as it started to fail under strain. Madara activated the power of his Rinnegan after realizing that the battle's momentum had changed, giving him access to the six-path Sage mode. As the Ten-Tail's strength flowed through him and strong golden chakra engulfed his entire body, the conflict that was about to take place caused the battlefield to appear to quake. Garou's body, that experienced even another change in its response to Madara, allowed him to enter what is known as his cosmic fear mode. His mastery of martial arts reached unimaginable heights, enabling him to control reality's very fabric. The two warriors, who were now at their height of their abilities, battled a force that posed a threat to the separation between their realms. With the aid of his recently discovered cosmic fear mode, Garou was able to avoid and parry Madara's six paths advanced blows with impossibly high accuracy. Madara's strong jutsu were each greeted with a defiant and devastating response from Garou. The weight of their tremendous fight washed over the atmosphere as the impact of their blows sent shockwaves coursing through the air, unyielding and controlled. Madara continued to adjust to Garou's strike. He has incomprehensible talents thanks to his mastery of the six paths. Madara produced intangible shadows to attack Garou using his knowledge of limbo, leaving the martial artist with little choice except to use instincts to avoid them. Ever flexible, Garou started to anticipate the motions of Madara's invisible attackers, his body reacting to their presence with amazing accuracy. The conflict between these two remarkable warriors had evolved into a dance in which each participant tested the other's limits to the utmost. Madara, seeing that the conflict was ending, gathered all his chakra and launched his sixth path, Chibaku Tensei, a devastating attack as numerous meteors collected around Garou, imprisoning him in a gravitational prison. The sky above them grew darker. Realizing the seriousness of his predicament, Garou made every effort in his might to escape the crushing force of Madara's final move. In a desperate attempt, he released a crushing punch, concentrating all the raw strength of his cosmic fear mode into one devastating blow. The force of Garou's onslaught caused the meteorites surrounding him to fracture and disintegrate, and everything in its path was destroyed by the shockwave it produced as it spread outward. As the dust and debris subdued and settled, Garou could be seen standing defiantly with his fists still extended and his breath raged. Their fists connected in a violent hit that sent shockwaves through the air as they charged at each other with blazing speed. Garou, who was now the terrifying force of nature, overpowered Madara with his strength and speed as he started to deal deadly blows to the legendary shinobi. However, Madara, being the steadfast warrior that he was, did not flinch. He responded to each of Garou's attack with one of his own, using his six paths improved jutsu to blunt the martial artist's potential blows. The two combatants continued their dance, their might now so great that it seemed as though reality itself was warping and twisting around them. Madara concentrated all his strength into one final deadly attack in an effort to terminate the conflict. He conjured a Chibaku Tensei, a tremendous gravitational force capable of ripping the earth apart. Garou increased his efforts after recognizing how dangerous this ultimate method was, using his cosmic fear mode to give him the power to withstand Madara's pull. The Chibaku Tensei grew bigger and more potent as the two warriors continued to fight. As reality itself appeared to give way under the weight of their conflict, the ground under them cracked and collapsed, and the sky above them grew gloomy. Garou, who could feel the incoming, summoned every bit of strength he had and charged at Madara with an unfathomable amount of energy. The two warriors' fists collided with an impact that rocked the very sky as Madara, determined to put an end to the conflict once and for all, met Garou's attack head on. Madara's strength proved to be just sufficient in that decisive catastrophic moment to repel Garou's persistent assault. The Chibaku Tensei was brought down by the force of their combined attacks, and the explosion that followed launched both fighters into the air. Despite his severe injuries, Madara was still shocked to see Garou standing, and he admitted that Garou is a very strong person. Madara strained to keep his six-path Sage Mode active because his chakra stores were low. He unleashed the Infinite Tsukiyomi, his most potent move. With one more surge of will, above them a gigantic eye appeared, its sights cutting through Garou's entire soul. Garou's body started to tremble as the Infinite Tsukiyomi hypnotic power took over, slowly draining his will to fight in Madara's illusionary reality. The formerly unstoppable martial artist was unable to escape the strong genjutsu. The conflict was concluded once Garou was imprisoned in the Infinite Tsukiyomi. Madara stood over his defeated adversary, fatigued but triumphant, his eyes blazing with fire of victory. The two warriors were sent back to their own realms As the universe started to separate, respecting Garou's amazing strength and talent, Madara decided not to kill him. In his lengthy and illustrious career as a shinobi, Madara had faced some formidable opponents, and as he left the battlefield, he was aware of this. Even though the fight had been intense, the results was uncertain. Madara Uchiha ultimately prevailed. The famous shinobi had defeated one of the most formidable foes he had ever faced with a mix of skill, cunning, and willpower. The legends of their Titanic conflict will reverberate over time and space, immortalizing their conflict as one of the most important conflicts in history.